All right, so today, let's dive into something fun.
Mm.
Romantic European cities.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Yeah, so we've got this article, and it's from Europa.tips.
Okay.
It's called Seven Cities in Europe to Fall in Love with Unforgettable Memories.
Mm-hmm.
And it is packed with anecdotes and observations about these cities. So our mission, I guess, is to figure out, what makes these cities so special for love.
Yeah.
Not just the typical tourist stuff, but like those deeper layers, those unexpected moments that,
Yeah.
make you really feel the romance.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this article is that it seems to be pushing back against the idea of like a manufactured, picture perfect kind of romance.
Right.
It's more about these subtle details, the things that make a city unique and create a certain atmosphere.
Yeah, you're right. It's not about, checking off landmarks. It's about the feeling you get from a place.
Exactly.
So let's start with Paris.
Okay.
I mean, it's practically synonymous with romance, but is that reputation earned or is it
Mhm.
just a cliche at this point?
It's a great question. I mean, Paris definitely plays into the classic romantic imagery, the Eiffel Tower, the Seine. It's all there.
Right.
But the article highlights specific experiences that suggest it's more than just a surface level thing.
Okay.
For example, the author describes encountering a woman reading Baudelaire by the Seine, which actually happened to them.
That's such a perfect Parisian scene.
Yeah.
It suggests that art and romantic expression are woven into the fabric of everyday life there.
Exactly. And it goes beyond the visual.
Mm.
The author even mentions how even the smell of Paris contributes to the romantic atmosphere.
Wow.
It's about engaging all the senses.
I can definitely see that. And of course, we have to mention the food.
Oh, yeah.
Croissants, coffee,
Mm-hmm.
those sidewalk cafes.
Mhm.
It all just screams romance.
Right. The food plays a big part in creating that Parisian experience, and I think that's a key element of romance in general, appealing to the senses, creating a shared experience that goes beyond just words.
Okay, I'm convinced Paris definitely earns its romantic reputation,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to see what other flavors of romance we'll find. Next up, we're heading to Venice.
Right.
The article has this intriguing line, whoever hasn't gotten lost in Venice, hasn't experienced Venice. Is getting lost really part of the romantic appeal?
I think it is. I mean, Venice is famous for its labyrinthine streets and canals,
Yeah.
and I think that disorientation actually adds to the romantic experience. It encourages spontaneity, forces you to rely on each other, and often leads to unexpected discoveries.
It's like the city itself is inviting you to explore together, to wander off the beaten path and create your own adventure.
Precisely. And the article actually recounts an anecdote about hearing opera music drifting from a window while lost in the maze of Venetian streets.
That's so magical.
Yeah, that kind of serendipitous moment just wouldn't happen in a city with a more straightforward layout.
Right. And of course, we can't talk about Venice without mentioning the gondolas.
Of course, but even there, it's not just about the picture-perfect image, it's about the intimacy of being in that small shared space, gliding through those quiet canals, separated from the hustle and bustle of the city.
It definitely sets a unique mood. But speaking of unexpected discoveries, the article also mentions dining at a hidden restaurant tucked away on the island of Torcello. It seems like the best experiences in Venice are often the ones you stumble upon rather than the ones you plan.
Absolutely. Venice rewards those who are willing to let go of the itinerary and embrace the unexpected.
Yeah.
And that sense of discovery of finding those hidden gems together can definitely contribute to the romantic atmosphere.
Okay, Venice is definitely calling my name now. But let's move on to a city with a slightly different vibe. We're heading to Prague.
Okay.
Get ready for Gothic architecture, misty streets, and a sense of medieval romance.
Prague is fascinating because it has that historical depth, that sense of mystery and intrigue that you don't find in every city.
Right.
The article really emphasizes how every little corner feels steeped in stories.
Yeah.
And I think that contributes to the romantic atmosphere.
It's like stepping back in time, which can be really romantic. And speaking of stories, the article describes a casual chess game in a public square that unexpectedly turns into a public proposal.
Oh.
It's such a perfect example of how Prague fosters those unplanned romantic moments.
Exactly. And I think it's not just about the moment itself. It's about the setting, the city's Gothic architecture, the cobblestone streets, the history that seems to emanate from every building. It all creates this backdrop that lends itself to romance.
It's like the city itself is whispering secrets of love and intrigue, and What about the food? The article mentions traditional svíčková and Czech beer. Is that part of the romantic equation too?
Absolutely. Svíčková is a hearty, flavorful dish that really embodies the warmth and comfort of Prague,
Mhm.
and enjoying it with a Czech beer in a cozy pub surrounded by the beauty of the city that creates a shared experience that can be incredibly romantic.
It's all about those sensory details, isn't it? And speaking of simple pleasures, the article also mentions trilnik, those chimney cakes you see all over Prague.
Oh,
They
yeah.
seem to be more than just a sweet treat.
Right. They represent that idea of enjoying the simple things together, savoring the moment with your loved one.
Yeah.
And in Prague, even those simple moments feel imbued with a certain magic.
Prague definitely sounds like a city that gets under your skin.
Okay.
Okay, I'm officially adding it to my travel bucket list, but for now, let's switch gears and head to a city that combines music and mountains. Salzburg, Austria.
Ooh, Salzburg.
Yeah.
Salzburg is fascinating because it offers a different kind of romance. It's
Yeah.
not just about the city itself, but also about the surrounding landscape.
Right.
The article talks about romantic walks, breathtaking architecture, and stunning views of the Alps. It's about connecting with nature as well as with each other.
It's that classic Sound of Music kind of romance. And speaking of music, Salzburg is, of course, the birthplace of Mozart.
Hmm.
Does that play into the romantic atmosphere?
It does, but I think it's more subtle than just visiting Mozart's birthplace.
Okay.
The article describes attending a Mozart concert in an 18th century salon lit by candlelight. It's about being transported back in time, experiencing the music in a setting that evokes a different era.
It's creating that sensory experience again, immersing yourself in the music, the atmosphere, the history. And speaking of history, the article also mentions a walk up the Kapuzinerberg, it sounds like, more than just a tourist attraction.
Exactly. It's a locals recommendation, a hidden gem that offers stunning views of the city and a chance to experience Salzburg from a different perspective.
Oh, nice.
And it highlights that idea of getting off the beaten path, finding those little pockets of beauty that aren't in every guidebook.
I like that. I love that idea of discovering those hidden gems as places that hold a special kind of magic. It's like you're uncovering a secret, just the two of you.
Oh,
And speaking of secrets, let's move on to Bruges, Belgium. A medieval fairy tale town with cobblestone streets, canals, and chocolate. It already sounds like something out of a romantic movie.
Bruges has that timeless quality, that sense of history and charm that's really captivating. And the article points out how that slower pace of life can be incredibly romantic.
Yeah.
It allows you to escape the modern rush, to really be present with each other and savor the moment.
It's like stepping into a different world, a world where things move a little slower and love is in the air. And speaking of love, the article mentions Love Lake or Minnewater Lake and the local legend that walking hand in hand around it ensures eternal love.
I find it fascinating how these local legends and beliefs can add to a city's romantic appeal.
Right?
It's like the city itself is imbued with these stories, creating an atmosphere of magic and possibility.
It's like the city is whispering, anything is possible here, even eternal love.
Mm.
And of course, we can't talk about Bruges without mentioning the chocolate masher. The article recounts a delightful encounter with a chocolate philosopher who compares finding true love to finding the right chocolate.
That's such a charming analogy, and it speaks to that idea of searching for the perfect match.
Yeah.
That's something that truly satisfies your soul, and Bruges, with its abundance of chocolate shops and artisan chocolatiers, certainly offers plenty of opportunities to find that perfect match, both in chocolate and in love.
I love that. And speaking of finding the perfect match, the article also talks about how Bruges is particularly romantic at night. The quiet streets, the reflecting lights, the lack of crowds, it all creates a sense of intimacy and enchantment.
Absolutely. It's like the city transforms at night, becoming even more intimate, more mysterious, more romantic, and that transformation can be incredibly powerful.
Bruges definitely sounds like a city that casts a spell on you. But let's continue our journey and head to a city that's known for its culinary delights. San Sebastian, Spain. I have a feeling our taste buds are in for a treat.
San Sebastian is interesting because it brings another dimension to romance, the element of taste.
Ooh.
The article really emphasizes how the city's culinary scene, particularly the Basque cuisine, plays a role in creating a romantic atmosphere.
It's about experiencing love through taste as well as through sight and sound. It's about those shared meals, those explosions of flavor that create a sense of connection and excitement.
Exactly. Imagine strolling along La Concha Beach with your loved one, feeling the sand between your toes, the sun on your skin, and then indulging in some of the most delicious food you've ever tasted. It's a truly immersive, multisensory experience.
And speaking of delicious food, the article recounts an anecdote from a Pintas bar where a couple celebrating their 30th anniversary Compare love to a pintos plate. A little bit of everything, but all in the right proportion.
What a brilliant analogy. It highlights the importance of balance and variety in a relationship, and I think it perfectly captures the spirit of San Sebastian, a city that offers a little bit of everything from stunning beaches and vibrant culture to world-class cuisine.
It's a city that truly has it all.
Mm.
But for now, let's venture north to our final destination, Edinburgh, Scotland. A city of Gothic towers, misty hills, and literary history. It sounds like the perfect setting for a Gothic romance novel.
Edinburgh definitely has that air of mystery and intrigue. The article describes it as a city of stories where the past and present intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sense of history, that feeling of walking in the footsteps of literary giants can create a very romantic atmosphere.
It's like the city itself is a character in your love story. And speaking of stories, the article shares a quote that perfectly captures the essence of Edinburgh. Falling in love here is like seeing a rainbow after a storm.
That's a beautiful image. It suggests that Edinburgh might not reveal its charm immediately. It might seem a bit cold or imposing at first, but beneath that surface lies a warmth and beauty that's worth discovering.
It's like a hidden gem waiting to be unearthed. And what better way to uncover those hidden gems than with someone you love?
Precisely. And the article recommends taking a walk along Victoria Street, known for its colorful buildings and winding lanes. It's said to have inspired Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter books, which adds another layer of magic to the experience.
It's like stepping into a fairy tale.
Mhm.
So we've explored 7 incredibly romantic cities, each with its own unique flavor and charm.
Mm.
But what have we learned about romance itself? Is it truly tied to a place, or is it something deeper?
That's the question, isn't it? And the article ends with the thought-provoking line, "True love starts in a city but never stays there." What do you make of that?
I think it suggests that a city can be the catalyst for a love story, the setting where those initial sparks ignite. But love itself is a journey, something that evolves and grows beyond the confines of any one place.
I agree, and I think that's a powerful message. Love isn't static, it's dynamic. It's about sharing experiences, growing together, and creating a narrative that's uniquely yours.
And perhaps these 7 cities, with their diverse flavors of romance, can serve as inspiration, as starting points for our own love stories. They remind us to be open to the unexpected, to savor the little moments, and to embrace the adventure of love wherever it may lead us.
Beautifully said, and I think that's a perfect note to end on for this part of our deep dive.
You know, as we've been talking about these cities and all the different ways they can inspire romance, I've been thinking about, like, what actually makes a place feel romantic? Is it like the architecture, the history, the food, or is it like something more, intangible?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination of all those things, but you're right, there's definitely like an intangible element to it.
Yeah.
It's that like feeling you get when you're in a place that just seems to hum with a certain energy, you know?
Right.
It's in the air, it's in the light, it's in the way people interact with each other.
It's like the city itself is whispering secrets of love and adventure. And I think this article does a really good job at capturing that feeling. It's not just about listing the top tourist attractions.
Right.
It's about those subtle details, those like sensory experiences that create this like truly romantic atmosphere.
Exactly. And I think about like the smell of freshly baked bread wafting from a Parisian boulangerie,
Oh, yeah.
or the sound of a gondolier's voice echoing through the canals of Venice,
Yes.
or the sight of the sun setting over the Scottish Highlands. I mean, those are the things that stay with you,
Right.
that evoke a certain emotion, a certain longing.
It's about experiencing a place through all your senses, not just sight. It's about those like intimate moments, the shared laughter, the feeling of connection that transcends language and culture.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes these cities so special. You know, they create an environment that fosters romance, that encourages you to slow down, to be present in the moment, and to truly appreciate the beauty that surrounds you.
Yeah, it's like each city has its own unique love language. Paris whispers romance through its grand architecture and elegant gardens. Venice seduces you with its hidden canals and mysterious alleyways. Prague charms you with its historic squares and cozy pubs. Salzburg enchants you with its musical heritage and breathtaking alpine views. Bruges invites you to step back in time with its medieval streets and fairy tale charm. San Sebastian tantalizes your taste buds with its culinary delights and seaside beauty, and Edinburgh captivates your imagination with its Gothic architecture and intriguing stories.
Wow. It's a reminder that romance can be found anywhere in any city as long as you're open to experiencing it.
Yeah,
It's about being present, embracing the unexpected, and allowing yourself to be swept away by the magic of the moment.
so true. And going back to that line from the article, true love starts in a city but never stays there.
Mm.
I think it's a beautiful reminder that love is a journey. It's
Yeah.
like an ongoing adventure that takes you to these unexpected places.
Absolutely. A city can be the spark, the setting for the beginning of a love story.
Yeah.
But love itself is something that grows and evolves, that takes on a life of its own.
Right.
It's about shared experiences, about navigating the ups and downs together, about creating a story that's uniquely yours.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this.
Yeah.
It's not about finding the most romantic city. It's about being open to the possibility of romance, whoever you're with.
Right.
It's about appreciating the beauty in the everyday, the magic in the mundane, and the adventure that comes with opening your heart to love.
Beautifully said, and I think that's a perfect note to end on.
So to our listener, we encourage you to let these 7 cities inspire. You let them be a reminder that romance is out there waiting to be discovered. Embrace the unexpected, savor the little moments, and let your heart lead the way.
And who knows, maybe your own love story will start in a city and then take you to places you never imagined possible.
That's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The
Yeah.
journey is the destination.
Exactly. So until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep the spirit of romance alive.